Okay. According to Zoom, we're live. Now, how about YouTube? Are we live on YouTube? Yay. Yay. Boy, that was pretty smooth. I love it when stuff actually works without any issues. And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Morning Mojo and Coffee Chat / Energy Read. And today is Thursday, November the 21st, 2024. And I got to be honest with you. While while the energy isn't coursing through my body like it was yesterday, because boy, that was off the chain, whatever that was, um, for me yesterday. It does still feel quite, in other words, yesterday it was wanging to a degree that it was upsetting to my central nervous system, which is why my morning coffee that I had to be changed over to clove and holy basil powder because tea. I have a jar of holy basil powdered in so that I can make a tea, right? Oh, that was so helpful. So I didn't come yesterday for the morning mojo, but I did come live and do an intuitive hangout session yesterday, and it was so much fun. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I'm so grateful to the beings that participated. And who knows? Maybe we'll do one again Saturday night or something. I don't know. We'll just see. I really enjoyed it, and so if I get nudged to do another one, I will just up and do it. And I will be giving a notification. I did last time, but I don't think, I still don't think I allowed long enough uh, between the time I recorded the invitation and the time I began. So we'll try it. We'll try it. We'll see. Um, So the energy is running high enough for me again that I did awaken at 4:15 this morning. And ooh, oh, that's interesting. I pulled out the Sufi wisdom deck and ending a trauma came out. Transform memories and symptoms. And I gotta share with you that I I was drawn to wow. Uh, I was drawn to a crafting video this morning, which I always wanted to do resin crafts, but with my breathing situation at present the way it is, I just couldn't. I didn't feel like it was worth my trying to get the cash to do that craft because of the breathing situation that I have going on. So I didn't do it, but I was attracted to a video technique that a fellow was doing and I swear his finished piece looked just like this card. So, okay, wow, that was kind of interesting. I don't know uh, the why, but we'll see. Hey, ending a trauma, transform memories and symptoms. So the fairies oracle wants to come out too. This is my absolute favoriteest deck ever, and the reader on YouTube from which I found this is no longer on YouTube. She doesn't read anymore. But I was so blessed to have seen her because she's actually the first reader that I'd ever seen using this deck. And this deck is not easy to find, always easy to find. Indy came up. Hmm. This is very interesting to me that Indy came up. This is the card of indecision. It's also called the Libra's Bane, which I am a Libra. And oh, wow, the bottom of the deck is the RAR. This is the energy. Oh, funny that that should be at the bottom like that. This is the energy that I experienced yesterday that is actually still here today, just more subdued. Um, I would actually be willing to bet that this energy will present differently for each. Um, well, I think that's the case for all energies because of the very same reasoning that I discussed yesterday about how we all grok information differently based on all of our previous experiences with life. And oh, not these, huh? Okay. I just grabbed these, and that's not at all what wanted to come out. So that's quite interesting. So, but I feel as though, and so he wants to be part of this because I feel this energy in the background. I feel it as very much what I felt yesterday. This kind of frenetic energy. Yeah, that's what the RAR feels like. It's just unbounded energy, right? So that's very interesting, especially to show up on the bottom of the deck because it was very prevalent yesterday, and I feel it today, but more in the background. Either either my body is just better equipped to handle it today. Oh my. Or, well, that's interesting. Two cards came out from the shaman deck. Land, animal, sun, and land, flower, star. Wow. And for some reason now, because this blue is really quite the same sort of blue, I'm feeling these cards being connected in some sort of way. In other words, that this perceived frenetic, chaotic energy is creative energy. Right? That's what I'm getting from this. Oh, so interesting. And land, animal, sun. Boy, this card, because of the horses being black and white, this reminds me, it puts me in mind of the chariot, but only because of the horses, because there's no humans in this picture. So does this also represent this? I'm being given a big yes. Um, Oh, as being just the way this energy is. It's natural. It's highly natural. It's not something out of the ordinary necessarily. It is part of the higher, more expanded frequencies that are bombarding the earth from the sun, is the way it feels. Well, I see that there are four of you here. Welcome. If you're new to the channel, I hope that you will find something in this collective reading that will relate to you. Don't ever try to force anything. If it doesn't ring true for you, it doesn't. But generally, when folks show up here, when they feel drawn to the channel, there's usually something for you. It may not be everything, but there might be something. we as a species would do well to realize that none of us has the answer. Jamie, not. I was literally writing and contemplating my dualist nature between masculine and feminine this morning because I am equal parts in my chart. How lovely. I love that. So you see, and I don't recognize your name, so it feels like you're sort of new to the channel. I hope that you will find something here that draws you, that continues to draw you, and maybe you'll come back and join me for a live intuitive hangout session, which is where when I get to practice my intuitive skills, and you guys help me with that, which is I love it. I have so much fun doing it. Okay, so I'm feeling to do the RAR first because this very much feels like um, a background, and I don't. It will be front and center for some that tune into it in the chaotic portions of this, and it could also feel um, and it could be that I feel it a little bit more than others due to my physical situation, right? Because each physical vessel is at a different stage as well, right? I am, all gratitude. Oh, medium, always loving seeing beautiful souls tapping in as well. Well, thank you for that. And as a medium, perhaps you would reach out to me at consciousconversationscentral@gmail.com. I would love to have a conscious conversation with you about your experiences. This is something that I adore doing because I'm on the quest for the truth of who I am. And I love you. You already know you're a medium, and I would love to have a chat with you if you were open to that. So reach out, and maybe we could meet in Zoom and then do a recording together. That would be lovely. I mean, if you feel drawn, I'm a big proponent of moving towards that which brings one joy, where one feels drawn, because that feels to me like, well, there's something there for me. And I don't know what it is always, but I usually figure it out. Okay, lovely. Thank you. I'm looking forward to it, Jamie. Okay, so this is card number 52, which is a 7 numerologically. And for me, that's always meant divinity. And again, I know that there are specific things about numerology. I'm not a numerologist. And I don't even really play one on TV. I just learning about it for myself, and I don't have all the things memorized. But for me, and I don't really know why, but 7 has always felt like a divine sort of number to me. Okay, so the RAR. The key words for this card are wild energy, pure potential. And that is what I'm tapping into today, is the feeling of pure potential. Yesterday, it felt a bit more chaotic to my personal vessel. And again, I've had a lot of issues, so that makes perfect sense. That's why I say it will affect each being differently in my estimation. Once upon a time, there were 3 pink boys, more or less, and a RAR, who all played in Brian's son Toby's bedroom. They liked the midnight tea parties, the magical ambiance, and of course, they liked Toby. Unfortunately, the pink boys got too rowdy, and Brian had to throw them out into the garden, which was where they belonged anyway. The RAR learned from the experience in a rarish way and quieted down a bit during the midnight hours. RARs are not naughty or wicked, just energetic. They are also not very discriminating. They like to join into whatever excitement is going on and add energy to it. In a way, they are pure potential, and they potentize whatever is happening. RARs are attracted to mobs rioting and to meditation groups rising toward ecstasy and toward any other strong energy states. RARs are a bit like Tigger in the Pooh stories. They bounce, they zoom, they go off on wild tangents. And then, as an aside, Bryant hasn't painted a wild tangent yet, as far as I know, but I know what they look like, having encountered more than my fair share. Think of the roar of a growling dog, the roar of an engine revving up, the purring of a cat, and the "arr" in arg. As I say, RARs don't discriminate. It's up to us to do that. They put a live spark into whatever is happening. It is our choice what we do with it. A RAR in your cards encourages you to be especially attentive to what you are doing with your energy and intentions. Don't get carried away by the RAR's bouncy enthusiasm, but do take advantage of the energy. And I was flashed as I was reading that to be especially attentive to what you are doing with your energy and intentions. You see, I have come to feel so far in my experiment, which is what I now call the rest of my life. It's my experiment. Um, my hypothesis is that we create as we move. Whether we know it or not, believe it or not, consciously direct it or not, that is the case, is what I absolutely feel in these moments of now. Now I'm open to being shown differently because I also feel that with presence, with and that's the whole point of my intuitive hangout sessions is honing that presence, learning how to shut out everything else and be present to the larger portion of me that tries to communicate with me at every turn. But it's just whether or not I can hear it. I will, and with all of that in mind, having been programmed and conditioned all our lives to think that we can't create or we don't create our own realities, well, then no wonder my creations come out distorted, and not exactly what I want. But with attention and intention coupled with the oomph, right? Now we're talking, as far as I'm concerned. Don't get carried away by the RAR's bouncy enthusiasm, but do take advantage of the energy. You can accomplish a great deal with the energy being made available to you. This is a good time. Note that the RAR is not grounded and is not meant to be, but humans need to keep their feet firmly on the earth. When you encounter the RAR, breathe slowly, center, earth yourself, be clear about your objectives, and then go for them. And I really feel like this is the energy I felt so hugely yesterday. And I feel it still today, but not as intensely in my vessel, which, yay, that's something to celebrate. If you ask me, anytime the vessel is calming down, that's a good sign. Okay. Card number 63. Numerologically, Indy is a 9, which is the end, generally signifying the end of a cycle. And the key words here, which is, I'm glad for that. The key words here are indecision, wishy-washing, commitment, decision making. If you don't get him on the wish, you might catch him on the wash. But probably not, because by the time you think you've got a commitment from him, he's swung the other way again. Poor Indy. He can't decide between this and that, or is it that and this? If he just had more information, if he just had some kind of guarantee about the outcome, if only he could be certain about things. Well, he can't. That isn't how life is. Indy sits on our shoulder as we wobble around trying to make a decision, and just as we think we've about got it, he mutters, "But what if?" And very likely we dissolve into confusion again. Decisions make him nervous because they involve commitment, and Indy seems to be frightened of that. What he makes What if he makes the wrong decision and it ruins his or someone else's life? What if he makes no decision, dithering forever, and that causes ruin? I feel for Indy, and not only because I'm a Libra, because I am too, which I always think is so funny. For he is the only one of the fairy challengers who doesn't know what we should be doing. That is, he knows we should be making our decisions clearly and cleanly at the appropriate time, and he has some ideas about how we might more easily go about that. But he is not himself a good decision maker. Sometimes he whispers almost tearfully in my ear, "You're going to drive me mad, you know, if you would just make up your mind." There are many reasons why we hesitate when decision and action are appropriate. However, most of them boil down to fear. Fear of making a mistake, fear of harming others, fear of losing something of value to us, fear of harming ourselves, fear of responsibility, fear that we are simply not able to make a proper decision. We need to look honestly at our insecurities, recognizing them for what they are, our insecurities, not reality. Then we need to resolve what we can and set the rest in the balance against what will surely happen if we continue to hesitate. Okay, wow. Wow. Oh, I got flashed a huge thing for me personally. I shared yesterday that we found mold in my house and we are looking to get out of this situation that we're in. And yeah, no, that's very real because, with my health the way it is, I cannot be in a house that's overrun with mold. It's actually caused me some sliding back in my health where I was really going gangbusters there for a little while, right? So, hmm, very interesting. Premature decisions and actions often create problems, but lack of decision is a decision also, and that creates its own set of misfortunes. Indy is also known as the Libra's bane, but an indecisive Libra truly is Indy's bane. He would be so relieved if we would just make our decisions and our commitments and stick to them. Then he might learn to do this for himself and be in a better position to help others. Caught up in Indy's energy, one Oracle group member, who is usually a great decision maker herself, responded to the above paragraph. You lost me here. How would our learning to make decisions help Indy to make decisions? Would it really? Then what would he do? How would he be better? How would he better help other beings having problems with this? Or would the other beings that are having problems cause Indy not to learn to make his own decisions? Or are there no people that Indy knows that he can learn from now so that he could be different? Or are we talking global change here? What I was trying to say was that sometimes it is possible to learn from watching others learn, which is really kind of what this is. I do this for me, not for all of y'all. I do it for me, and if it helps, then that's just a win-win situation. Since I started doing this for myself, I noticed that my consciousness has expanded, and so and it's a lot of fun, and I've learned a lot about myself through this, and I have had others contact me to say that they too are learning right along with me in their own specific ways, which is quite lovely if you ask me. Um, so, what I was trying to say was that sometimes it is possible to learn from watching others learn. Indy would like to do this. Then he might be better able to teach those processes. Or perhaps not. At least I think that is what I mean. I love that. Jamie said, I just jotted in my notebook last week about black mold. My guides told me to write it. So much love said, oh my goodness. Wow. And then you were attracted here. Okay, that's very interesting to me. Perhaps you actually, I, wow, I'm sorry. I'm a bit taken aback by that. And you had no idea why? Wow. How interesting is that? It's decision time. Time to make up your mind, make a decision, then stick to your commitments. Set yourself a definite time period um, to complete your decision, right down to the day and hour. Give yourself time to put the decision into practice before it is too late. Once that arbitrary but carefully judged decision time is set, ask for guidance for your highest good. Then weigh, consider, ponder, and gather information. If we do this, and if we have asked for aid, the answer seems somehow to fall magically into place at the appointed time. Then it is just a matter of trusting that answer and carrying it through. We can ask for help with that as well if we wish. It is willingly given. And I do feel that's true. My current state actually began when I realized that I was very near leaving the planet. And I was so unhappy and unhealthy. I actually threw, and I was such a burden to my family. I threw myself down on my knees and I said, either take me now or show me the way. And I started being shown the way. Now, the thing with being shown the way, for me, is realizing that everything in my environment endeavors to communicate to me, from people having a conversation 2 aisles over in the grocery store, and I overhear them, and the conversation is exactly what I'm mulling over in my head, and there's my answer, or there's my direction, or a song that's playing on the radio as if it were answering my questions. And these are the things that for me, I just had to be open to seeing that the we endeavor to create to communicate with ourselves. That larger portion of me was endeavoring to communicate with me on a very intimate level, but I never paid attention until that time when I had had enough and I needed assistance. So that's my experience, and I feel like anyone who's open to experiencing just that sort of thing will actually. Okay, so this one was ending a trauma, which for me personally, when I first started my journey here, I came across traumas that were unresolved, and I think we are all loaded with them. Nobody on the planet has escaped that, by the way. Nobody. And there's nobody to blame either, because this is something that the entire human race has done to each other from time immemorial. So there's nobody really to blame. But we have allowed ourselves to accept answers as gospel from others that really nobody has the answers to, in my estimation. And that's really shown itself to me in the last, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years, that we've all given our power away to somebody or something. And we've assumed that things we've been told are true. And I got to tell you, the more I see, the more I cannot unsee that is nothing is as it appears, not one iota. I mean, from my perspective, anyway. So, and the other thing about ending a trauma for me is I have found the same trauma disguised as something else around the corner. Just when I thought I healed it, oh, look at me, I healed something, but not because there not fully because it was trapped around the corner behind the bed, looking like a dust bunny, different color, a little different shape, a little flavor difference there, but it was the exact same thing. And because of the fact that we all have incorrect misinformation, disinformation, incorrect information, assumptions in our fields, um, of course they take on different flavors and whatnot. And thank you. I know. I didn't want to believe that at first, Jamie. I know that you're right. Sometimes my little being steps in and tries to say, well, who the hell do you think you are? But in truth, I do realize that that's the truth. So ending a trauma transform. Oh, yes. And so, see, now I'm getting very warm. So let me take this off because I'm actually starting to sweat, which is very interesting. Because in a minute here, I'll be freezing because that's what that does. That's exactly how that works for me. Whew. Okay. So, ending a trauma, transform memories and symptoms. Do not allow your soul to be oppressed. Where part of you goes, the rest of you will eventually follow. And this is by somebody named Rabia. It's Rabia. This is my Sufi wisdom oracle. The artist is the same from my Rumi oracle deck, which is my absolute favorite. But I was trying to give it a break. And this one really wanted some love. So this oracle is like a gentle lover, guiding you to cope with your reactions to stress and envision yourself in a position of power. Well, honestly, that's something that I really see in a really huge way. I mean, now it took me 63 years probably to get to this point exactly, but um, where I used to hold things in one way and that I was a victim of those things, and now I see those absolutely differently. That I see my own handiwork in the setting up of those situations, which, yes, a valid perspective is that I was abused and victimized terribly. However, the universe said, but did you die? And of course, well, obviously, the answer is no. So, and I feel like a lot of what that was and is for each of us is to prepare us for whatever it is we want to do moving forward. Um, to also uh, assist the creation to understand living experience into wisdom. That's another thing. Oh, thank you so much, Jamie Knott. You are so sweet. And I do feel that in a really large way. And I don't think I would have ever admitted that to anybody until recently. So, this oracle is like a gentle lover, guiding you to cope with your reactions to stress and envision yourself in a position of power. Even if you are not a victim of trauma, actively coping is a way of responding to the challenges of everyday life. And again, I say that there's not a being on this planet that does not have trauma. I've actually witnessed the installation of trauma. Okay. I've witnessed this now as an adult. And I can tell you honestly that the being who was responsible for that installation of trauma in that child meant no harm. Meant no harm, didn't hit the child. We seem to associate trauma with abuse. But it was trauma nonetheless. Um, and it goes to children eventually becoming adults that don't trust themselves. And there's a whole crap ton of us out there, myself included, that don't trust yourself to make a decision. We got to put that power in somebody else's hands because they know better than me. They actually went to school for that and they got letters after their name. Never once did I stop to wonder whether or not those that I were given that decision to are how are they trained? Who taught them? And what exactly were they taught? I never asked any of those questions. And boy, oh boy, did that play a huge role in the way my physical vessel right now. So, oh yeah, we do that a lot. The oracle is inspiring you to trust that your life is guided. Unseen spirits flow through the wisdom of Sufi mystics. They come to help you overcome the feeling of helplessness and to encourage you to be the best you can be. They are inviting you to accept the impact of trauma on your life and take direct action to improve how you respond to it. Dear one, know that you are much loved in ways you may not always experience. You must dare to challenge old definitions of yourself by identifying them as false and recognizing they were based on circumstances that were not in your control. When you feel the full pain of your past and process and make sense of it, you can resolve your trauma. This will alter your path into the future. Oh, yes. That's exactly what I was speaking to, right? Like what I went through in my first marriage, absolutely would have been considered victim, abuse, all of these sorts of things. I now recognize that I have processed all of that, and I recognize that as something wholly different now. I hold it completely differently than I did all of my life before. And I see where I actually made sure that that situation happened. That's me taking responsibility for me in a way. I'm sorry, but that is so much more empowering than just going with, oh, he did that to me, and oh, woe is me. And I I never really did anything but stand around and cry because they didn't love me the way I loved them. But I also see where I had to go through all of that. in a very real way. When you feel the full pain of your past and process and make sense of it, you can resolve your trauma. This will alter your path into the future. Boy, it sure has mine. If you feel anxiety, for instance, you can accept and recognize the feeling, but direct your attention to something else. Watch your thoughts, perceptions, and emotions flash through your mind without being involved with them emotionally. Thoughts are just thoughts. You don't have to believe them nor let them guide your behavior. Know that there is support all around you. Creativity is a way for you to express your feelings in a positive, innovative way. By getting involved in uplifting activities, you can improve your mood and rebuild your life. Well, that's sure true. There is a mantra here that I will include, as it is not a sacred honoring ritual. You guys all know how I feel about that. For your edification, Jamie, I'm a big proponent of create your own rituals. View what other folks are doing, but take your puzzle pieces. If it draws you, then it's for you, and create your own, because then you know what is in that ritual. It's not someone else's ritual, it's yours. Uh, but I do like to speak out mantras from time to time, and I like this one. I will detach from being traumatized or wounded. I will release those memories and replace them with feelings of unconditional love. I am confident in my ability to process my memories and symptoms and to thrive. And the truth of the matter is, for me personally, I never advocate not going fully into the emotion. Because for me, I've learned, for me specifically, I have to feel it all the way through. If I don't, if I try to suppress, oppress, don't look at, run the other way, that's how I got to be 490 pounds. That's how I nearly ran myself off the planet, was ignoring the larger portions of me that were trying to get my attention. And so for me, I won't do that anymore. I want to feel whatever it is I'm feeling all the way through, and just process it, because it's mine, and I don't want to deny it, because believe you me, that ain't helping nothing. Again, that's just my own experience. Now, this one is the Alchemy Elementals. And I really, again, this is sort of a new one for me. And I haven't really read the book, but it's so interesting because the numbers on the cards aren't the numbers. It's like there's two sets of numbers for each card, and that's kind of interesting to me. So this one is card number 78, and I think that's a six numerologically. Um, yeah, that's right. It's a six numerologically. And for me, that's the number of balance, love, and harmony. Was my favorite number growing up as a kid. And well, I don't know if it had anything to do with Monopoly, but six was always my number. Land, animal, and sun. Well, for one thing, just my impressions of looking at this card is that I have felt for a very long time that the earth is being bombarded by energy coming from the sun. And a lot of that energy contains data, information, codes, keys that the DNA within the vessel opens to receive when it's ready. And those keys and codes enter again when the vessel is ready. Um, and I feel like this is depicted here because you can see, I don't know if it shows up really well for you, there are concentric circles around that sun. And the horses actually appear to, it seems to be affecting their fields, if you see. And for me, those codes and keys are very much depicted there in the rays that are coming off of the sun. And oh wow, I'm a life path 6, and the number 78 means so much to my heart. That's very interesting. You were absolutely drawn here for the first time today. I mean, I'm gathering because this is the first time I'm seeing that you've commented. So I'm really excited to get a chance to chat with you, my dear. Okay, so land animal sun. Land animal sun is on page 96, which also is a 6. Now, that's not the case with all of these cards. Um, Again, I'm not sure why they've numbered the cards. You got to turn to the back of the book in order to find the card in the book. And so there's actually two sets of numbers. They don't all end up like that. So I find that, again, terribly interesting. Oh, thank you. Jamie said, "Yes, ma'am, you are a gift to my morning coffee." Oh, I'm so grateful for that. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, so it's one thing to love animals and to scratch them behind their ears and to tell a chihuahua in someone's purse that you like its sweater vest. It is quite another thing to truly commune with animals. When was the last time you ran alongside a horse, feeling the joy and freedom it feels sprinting across the land? When was the last time you rolled around with a dog, not just looming over it while patting it on its head, but humbled yourself by bringing yourself to its level and playing with it in the way that dogs actually like to play? When was the last time you sang along with the birds and harmonized with their melodies? The wisdom of the animals are profound, and their messages run deep. Avail yourself of the medicine they carry through communion. Allow the animals to teach you through their ways and through their language. They are our guides here. Walk well with them. And now for another little synchronicity. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I am I'm here fresh off of recording chapter 1 and 2. Did I start on chapter 2 or did I just finish chapter 1? I just finished chapter 1. And in chapter 1, it's all about the evolution of animals and how that works. Wild animals and domesticated animals are just a little bit different in that their evolution, like tadpoles are born, their oversoul about 10 million, I don't know, 10,000 at a time, tadpoles. Not all of them live to be frogs. But when it comes to domesticated animals, they are on they go through their evolution, and then the domesticated animal eventually transitions from the animal kingdom to the human kingdom, according to this book. Now, I find it very interesting that here we have the domesticated animals that this book refers to are horses, dogs, and cats. And that because of their domestication, which also has to do with their losing their fear of humanity, of the human animal. Um, I mean, and I have known beings who I was made aware of someone who in a dream was contacted by the spirit of their cat who had passed, who had come to thank them because that being taught them what human life could be like, and they were coming back the next time as human. Now you could say, oh, yeah, sure, all right. But there's a lot of puzzle pieces like that. That's not the only being I've ever heard say that. And then to have it echoed in this book, that is how that goes. And then for this card to also say that when I just recorded that this morning, I find that highly synchronistic. And I'm sure that it will probably, if it doesn't ring true for someone here now, then whoever comes along later will also feel the truth of that. Now, for me personally, I've I've gleaned that the domesticated animals also teach the humans about unconditional love. So it is a two-way street, in my estimation. Um, okay, so the last card we got here was Land, Flower, Star. And again, so this one for me, very interestingly, this one ends up being a 3 numerologically. For me, that is the Trinity. And the Trinity, for me, is what we are moving from a duality situation eventually. And how long this evolution of consciousness will take is anybody's guess, because honestly, I think it's an individual kind of path that each uh, undertakes for themselves. But for years now, I have been saying that the energy that we have seen heretofore on the planet of cruelty or lies, secrets, these kinds of energetics are no longer supported. It feels like to me. Not that people aren't still doing it, because they are, but it's not supported. Beings can't hide like they used to. Um, there's too much transparency in the air, because the question on the planet is being presented to every being. If you look around energetically at what's going on the world stage, you can see, to me anyway, I can see very clearly that each being is being asked, who do you trust? Is it you or is it somebody else? Is it those who would do whatever they can to manipulate the way you think? Or have I developed my own discernment to the point where I don't care what none of y'all say. I know what I feel and I'm going to go with that. Thank you very much. Very clearly, that is the energy that is here, in my view. So, Land, Flower, Star. Land, Flower, Star. Card number 93. So, that one is a 4. So, very interesting again for me, right? Yes. 9 plus 3 is a 4 numerologically. Yes. Oh my gosh. No, it's not. It's 3 2. Yes. That's a 3 2. Okay. Wow. That's very interesting. Honestly, I thought maybe it was a progression, but apparently not. Let's see. Did I get that right? Land, Flower, Star. 93. Yep, that's a 3 as well. Okay, so I'll go to 93. Um, the soul of spring has come for you. Doesn't matter what the calendar says, your life is in bloom, my dear. Now that's kind of interesting because for the last year and a half, almost 2 full years, I've been almost completely silent and withdrawn from the channel. I wasn't interested in coming here, I wasn't drawn here. And I don't really even have an answer as to why that is. However, I always said, and I go by this, I only move towards that which draws me. And since this is not something I'm trying to make money at or build a business for or anything like that, I wasn't here. And so when I got nudged to come back and begin this again with myself, um, I don't know, it's as if it's a totally different me again. And I say again because this is, ongoing for me, right? So, just as the flowers awaken to the warmth of the sun's proximity, so too is your heart blossoming now. This is an expansive moment in your earth walk. There is a mirth and a lightness emanating in your spirit from your spirit that is drawing others near. Well, if anyone's here from yesterday, you'll recall that I shared the day prior, myself and my housemate, Lisa, were out gathering our groceries, and twice we were approached in the grocery store by others who were drawn in. And one lady even said, I don't really know why I'm telling you my whole life story. And I said to her, I said, don't worry, dear, you're not the first to do that. We're kind of used to that. So, it's so very interesting that this come up now because it wasn't that way just a few months ago. I could go out and, some people would like follow, you could feel all eyes on you. And that has to do with the field that you carry with you, right? They can sense something different. At least with me and Lisa, I feel that everywhere we go. They sense your majesty and are drawn to the fragrant energy you are giving off. There is nothing you can do to hide your radiance, so allow yourself to bask in the attention and enjoy it. You are blooming, babe. Let people smell your petals and admire your blossoms. You are an inspiration to so many in this moment. Well, I have been called a catalyst. Chris J and her guides actually, used that terminology. So I am aware of that. And it's just, like I said, well, that's it for this one this morning. I hope you guys found something here for you. I know this was a big one, actually. I'm surprised that I went to get 3 cards, and in both of these 2 cases, 2 came out for each one. So I feel like, again, there's a lot of energy at play right now. And I don't know if it had anything to do with Pluto moving into Aquarius for good because that happened on the 19th because I've really felt an uptick in this energy, and yesterday, like I said, was really at a fever pitch. Well, thank you so much, Jamie Knott, for coming here and for sharing everything that you've shared here. You say I'm a gift to you. Oh, my dear, you've been such a gift to me this morning. I can't even tell you. And to the others that are here and those that will come later, thank you so much for coming here. You all know that this is really, I maintain I do this for me. And if there's something here for you, I feel like that's a win-win. So I hope that you will move towards that which brings you joy in each moment that presents itself to you. It really is just a matter of your perspective. And I have found that if I can't find joy, a higher joy in a situation because it's intense or whatever, I will at least allow myself to slow down and consider stepping out of the perspective I am holding and consider a different one because chances are I may find a different perspective that would bring me higher joy to participate in that way. So until we meet again, mwah, be well. Oh yeah, and keep a lookout. This is coming. I am in the midst of recording it, and I'm going to put that call out again, Jamie. I'm trying to re initiate my conscious conversation central days, where we are going to be. I'll put out a list of topics. If you go to knewlightstreaminglove, which is our website, who knew you could have a .love instead of a .com? I was so I was nudged to try it when I went to see about our domain name. And lo and behold, it took it. And so I was like, oh, wow, I'll take that. There's a lot of it's a whole different frequency for me than a .com. And so, but you can find my there's nothing really there right now, but there will be as soon as I learn how to actually operate it. But Chris J, Journey into It, she has her blog there, and she also she's the young woman who several of you may recognize has this is a collaborative team effort here. And my housemate, Lisa Flamino Rush, who will be appearing with us in more of the conscious conversations. So go there, take a look at some of the topics. It's not there yet. Give me a day or two. But also, I'm feeling it's time to start a book club. I do have one ongoing book club that I'm a participant in with my housemate Lisa and some other beings. So we're doing a different book, but I am feeling the push, the nudge to get this book club started. And it doesn't cost anything. Um, because I have all the books, and I have this thing called an experiential guide. Now, all I've ever done is seen the movie, but this is uh, I don't know. It's supposed to be fiction, right? It's supposed to be a novel, but it feels to me like this is disclosure in a lot of ways. And if nothing else, I really feel like the way of being that I was exposed to in this movie is what's coming for all of us who choose that. This embodied ascension process. Um, my housemate Lisa refers to it as we are going to die and be reborn right in our same shoes. If my vessel can handle it, I really do feel like our bodies are upgrading. And so, if you're interested in joining us, I haven't chosen a time or a day that we would do this because I was hoping, uh, to get more folks involved and interested. And I haven't been contacted by anyone yet. And I just started putting that out there. So maybe I should do a standalone video about that. Okay, so that's it for now. Thank you all so much for being here. Until we meet again, be well, my friends. Mwah.